Oklahoma State has definitely shown some signs of life recently, but will it be enough to take down the number 24 ranked Cincinnati Bearcats? It's a night game. It's homecoming. It could be, dare I say, a trap game.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a treat for you today. Instead of watching my funky face yelling to this microphone, we're going to bring on somebody who I definitely consider an expert of a multitude of sports. If you know anything about Cincinnati or the Reds or the Bearcats, you're going to know the man that we're bringing onto the show today to help us break it down, Jeff Carr, Locked On Cincinnati Bearcats. How are we feeling today, my guy?
Cody, I'm fired up. I can't believe the Bearcats are ranked. Did not have that on my bingo card this year, but happy to be here.
Well, and likewise, buddy, I cannot believe that we are the absolute heel of this conference. We might not even be the heel. We might be the gum on the bottom of the heel in this particular season. All right, man. So the Cowboys do get a nighttime homecoming game, which is obviously big for me with the Kappa ticket giveaway live show I'm doing. But even outside of that, I think that when you do have a homecoming and you have all of the alumnus coming back and you have that energy around, it does add another layer of inspiration. And we might even have a bunch of dudes in Section 231 taking their tarps off and spinning them around their head like it's a helicopter. We may have all of that for homecoming. That leads me to believe that we might have an opportunity to make things interesting. It's very evident, Jeff, that we're not doing anything traditional. We're okay with having the extra gadget plays and the double reverses and the running backs throwing for touchdowns and wide receivers throwing for touchdowns and a wide receiver playing quarterback. We have thrown caution to the wind. With that being said, does Cincinnati have any concern about the lowly Cowboys in this nighttime homecoming, nothing to lose ball game?
I'd say yes, and I'd say it's mostly in the second half. Like, we're really looking for this Bearcats team to get up early and often because they've done that the last couple of weeks. They did that against Iowa State. I mean, they almost went into halftime up 31-3 against Iowa State. And then when it came to UCF, they were up 17-0 before UCF woke up and actually started playing a little bit of defense and started playing a little bit there. And then in the second half, there's been a lot of weird penalties and a lot of just lackadaisical drives, not necessarily turnover-worthy drives. Brendan Sorsby is amazing at limiting the turnover-worthy plays, but it's mostly about like, all right, you get a little bit too cute and then all of a sudden you're punting. Or then you go on another drive and you just hand the ball off 3 times and now you're punting. So they've done this thing in the second half where they kind of let the foot off the gas a little bit. And like you said, it's going to be supercharged. Like, it feels like if you let off the gas in the second half of a homecoming football game, you could probably kiss your winning hopes goodbye.
See, the parallels definitely do add for an intriguing matchup because Oklahoma State this season, all we've done in the second half is disappear from the football field. The first half against Baylor, we put up a competent performance. The first half against Houston, we were in the ball game. That, Jeff, it's crazy to say this. I can't believe it's coming out of my mouth, but that was the first lead that Oklahoma State has had since last year's BYU ball game where Garrett Rangel got hurt right before halftime. That's the last time we've had a lead of any kind against a Power 4 football team. So that we're grasping for straws and we're reaching for consolation prizes, and that may be exactly what we're doing again here. But, you know, the caution to the wind thing, it being a night game, it being homecoming, it does add a little bit of mystique to this ball game. And now that you've got Sam Jackson with the elusivity back there at quarterback, you got to see a glimpse of the North Iowa transfer, Noah Walters, who, by the way, the second pass of his Oklahoma State career was almost a 40-yard touchdown. So, and he led the receiver, which we haven't seen a lot of this season. That does give Oklahoma State some hope. We've seen Trent Howland carry a game at running back. We've seen Rodney Fields carry a game at running back. We've had Shamar Rigby get involved in not only the receiving game, but that, you know, eye candy stuff in the backfield. We're going to get cute in the beginning. That's what we've done against Baylor and Houston. And it was able to, we put up 27 points and 17 points after not being able to score a field goal for most of the year, man. So again, this consolation prize thing, it's new, it's different. I don't like it. But in the Army, they taught us to embrace the suck. That's all we're doing right now in Stillwater. We're embracing the suck. And we are going to talk a little bit more about some of the players to pay attention to. But I'll tell you, brother, man, the development in 1 year from Brennan Sorsby is extremely noticeable. So who is your quarterback coach, and how long is he going to stay at Cincinnati? Because I'd imagine there's going to be some people that are wanting that individual to be at their program, because it is very noticeable, the improvement that Sorsby made in a year and a half now at Cincinnati. It's pretty remarkable.
Well, they say it takes a village, and he's had the benefit of now having a head coach and an offensive coordinator and a quarterback's coach all the same for 2 straight seasons. And it feels like that never happens for most guys in college football, not just at UC, just anywhere in general. And so he's benefiting a lot from that. There's been a lot of continuity there. But on the other side of it, like, as much as we belabored this point for the first couple of years, Scott Satterfield is an offensive-minded coach. And so we're finally starting to see a little bit of that here with Brennan Sorsby and the development that he's had, because he showed flashes of it early on in 2020.
Yes.
But then that all went away and it like disappeared, and it was kind of strange. And to see it back again this year in a different way, where less turnover worthy plays, better deep ball throws, and things like that. Like, I've been super excited to see that. And that's where it gives me a lot of hope for him, is not only the continuity, but then the other part of this here, Cody, is the fact that the offensive line is ridiculous. Like, last week against UCF, they got exposed a little bit. That wasn't their best game, but they've already had 3 weeks where they've been the Big 12 offensive line of the week. And I don't know that this 1 week against UCF is going to completely erase all of the positive vibes I've gotten from that group up front. I feel like they're due for a bounce back game. They're going to be coming in hungry and ready to prove that the first 4 weeks were much more than the last week. And I think we're really going to see that come out. But that's why I'm so bullish in Brennan Sorsby, is that his entire support group around him, not even just his playmakers that he gets to throw the ball to, but his support group and his offensive line and his coaching staff is just so solid.
How is the Cincy country feeling right now about Scott Satterfield? Because he entered the season ahead of Mike Gundy on the hot seat for coaches in the Big 12. And, Luke Fickell's not doing so hot in Wisconsin. And there was always going to be this conversation of, well, if Satterfield doesn't work out, could Fickell return home? Are those conversations now been pretty much put to rest?
I think they have. And it's interesting, because I heard some rumblings and grumblings after the UCF wins from some folks around the stadium that they're like, see, that's why I'm not sold on this guy. But those guys are the minority. I think everybody else has been very impressed with what he's done this year. And I think that especially after that Iowa State win, everybody's like, all right, he's good. We're good to let him roll a bit.
And after Oklahoma State, dude, you have, I don't want to necessarily call it murderer's row for scheduling to end the season, but it is mostly the upper half of the league, and some of the teams that are at the lower half of the league, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on, are scary. All right, before we get to an ad in segment 2 here, I did want to say, you mentioned your bingo board for this season. I don't think anybody in the country, even Cincinnati fans, would have said that we could look halfway into the season and Brennan Sorsby will be outperforming Sam Levitt and Avery Johnson and Rocco Becht. But here we are. Brennan Sorsby is that dude, but you and I both know that outside of the Mafia Don Corleone boss himself, you have plenty of other guys that Oklahoma State needs to pay attention to. And you know what? We've still got a few dudes that Cincy might want to keep notice of. Before we get to that stuff, ladies and gentlemen, we got to tell you about Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than just simply move. They deliver confidence with every ride. More IIHS, I can't speak English, top safety pick awards than anyone else as of August 2025. From the footwork to the breath work, the athletes that sweat every detail, just like Mazda, is going to bring the same intentionality to every single model that they craft. You're going to make everyday drives feel like an exhilarating experience. From the smooth handling and the intuitive controls with all-wheel drive almost standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any weather. So like some of our players at Cincinnati and Oklahoma State that do still sweat every detail, Mazda does the same, because when you make every move count, impossible then becomes irrelevant. So get with Mazda, where you can move and be moved today. From Mazda to getting your Peloton on, Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with a brand new Peloton cross-training tread plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is the most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach your peak performances. What you're going to love about the Peloton IQ system is it offers real-time strength coaching. It actually tracks your reps, suggests your right weights, and corrects your form for you, making every rep safer and smarter. The swivel screen is an absolute game changer. You can go from running on the Tread Plus to strength training without missing a beat. And the personalized class recommendations keep you engaged 24/7, so you get workouts tailored to your vibe and your energy each and every week. I don't have much of a vibe or an energy for this stuff, Jeff, but I think Peloton could potentially help me out here. So while I'm getting the help, you get it too. Let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward while exploring the new Peloton cross-training tread plus today, of course, by going to onepeloton.com. Go get your Peloton on so you're not like me. Okay, buddy. Now we get to roll right into segment 2 here. We know that you've got a quarterback that is performing at an unprecedented level from what we expected coming into the season. Everybody and their mom knew that Cincinnati had a legitimate defensive line, and that was going to be problematic for everybody in the season. But you've got more than that, Jeff. Who are some of the other Cincinnati Bearcats that Cowboy country needs to be worried about, concerned about, afraid of? Let us have it, buddy.
Well, quickly on the defensive side, it's Jake Golday. Jake Golday is one of the best defense players. I think he's going to be a really top end type of dude that they're seeking out in the NFL draft because he's tall, lengthy, got long arms, playing as a linebacker, but they do a lot of blitzing with him, use him as the fourth man a decent amount. They go the 3-3-5, but he's usually the fourth guy, trying to blitz into the backfield. But I'll say this too, if they drop him back in coverage or if they try to have him kind of cover that second level of the defense, he does a great job of that as well. He's just got a nose for the ball. He's going to be all around whoever's got it, and he's going to be making the plays that this defense needs him to make. So you look for number 11 on defense. And then on offense, you look for number 11, Joe Royer, the tight end. Dude is all over the place, had himself a huge catch last week against UCF, catch and run, really, which is something that we've not necessarily seen a lot of. He can go up and get it, and he can kind of jump over whoever it is that's covering him and really present a huge target for Brennan Sorsby, but he's not really been a run after the catch type of dude until this play he made last week against UCF, where it felt like he ran about 150 yards. Didn't quite make it into the end zone, though, so I don't know how you run 150 yards without scoring a touchdown. But he figured it out, and it was a great play for him. So really, on both sides of the ball, it feels like the obvious players to look out for are number 2 and number 2 in Brendan Sorsby and Dante Corleone. But then you also got to look for number 11 and Jake Golday and Joe Royer.
And it's actually ironic that you have that correlation there, because whenever you look at Golday, he looks like a tight end. He moves like a tight end. He wears the number of a tight end, and then he's out there making a bunch of plays at linebacker. So it is kind of ironic that you've got 2-2, 11-11 that are masterful at what they're trying to do. So from an Oklahoma State perspective, I think defensively, you got to look at the guy, Mordecai McDaniel, the transfer coming over from Florida. He didn't get to play in the first few weeks of the season for whatever reason. And now that he is getting playing time, he's led Oklahoma State in tackles 2 weeks in a row. This last week, he had 13 tackles. The week prior, he had double-digit tackles. This is clearly an individual that should have been playing more and more this season. And even if he may not be as big or as fast as the guy that was originally ahead of him, he plays with something that you can't teach, that intangible thing called, I don't know, Jeff, effort, which in this transfer portal era, sometimes you don't get a lot of. And unfortunately, Oklahoma State was a byproduct of that. Whenever you have to overload on the roster with transfer portal dudes, the locker room cohesiveness is not always there. The buy-in to the culture is not always there. Now, if you're winning, right, it can build. But if you're not winning, it can go ta-tas up real quick. And unfortunately, that has happened in Stillwater. Thankfully, Mordecai McDaniel has been making a massive presence, known for himself as the safety position. And then I think whenever you look at linebackers, you got to have somebody that's going to cover an NFL level tight end. And that's been difficult at times for Oklahoma State this season. But recently we've had the Ole Miss transfer, Trip White, playing outside linebacker instead of Brandon Rawls. And from a coverage perspective, it does look like Trip White is more designed to be able to handle somebody like a Golday. So that's two defensive dudes to pay attention to. Offensively, yeah, Sam Jackson started quarterback at TCU. Then he started like 4 or 5 games at quarterback at Cal before getting hurt. Goes to Auburn. They convert him to a wide receiver. Comes to Oklahoma State as a wide receiver and our primary return guy. And now he's playing quarterback. So athletically, you already know what he's going to provide. I think what people need to pay attention to out here is honestly what we're doing in the backfield. Rodney Fields is an Oklahoma product who's got 2 cousins on the football team. He's been able to kind of showcase himself recently. I still like the 1-2 combo of Trent Hallen. Trent Hallen's the big 6'3", 255-pound beast that was the leading rusher at Indiana 2 years ago. That 1-2 combo with Sam Jackson back there is problematic. And then lastly, I hope we see Noah Walters, the North Iowa transfer that it has 4,600 yards passing, went to UCF last year, was a student on the flag football team, and then he gets an opportunity in Stillwater and drops a dime for a touchdown, leading the receiver. It is still going to be Sam Jackson the fifth, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a decent helping of Noah Walters just because he's another unknown. So if Cincinnati's preparing for Sam Jackson, and then all of a sudden you see this random dude that hasn't played football in a year and a half, that's eye candy that you can't really prepare for. Those are the things that I'm excited about.
It's intriguing to me because last week UCF rolled out a guy that was much better at scrambling than throwing, and the Bearcats really didn't put a lot of spy. Like, there weren't a lot of plays where there was a spy on him, and so he was able to kind of carve up the Bearcats defense with his scrambling ability. So I kind of look for Sam Jackson to do that a little bit here. What'll be intriguing to me is if they are ready for that, and then Noah Walters comes in, because this Bearcats secondary can get exposed pretty easily. They run a nice cushion on most plays. There's a lot of 8 and 9 yard, backing off of. There's not a lot of physical defensive back play, and they don't play man very often. It's mostly zone. And so how are they going to exploit that? It kind of feels like Noah Walters has a better chance to exploit that than Sam Jackson, although Sam Jackson could be that dude, like, unless there were a couple of plays that Jay Golday was used as a spy on Cam Fancher, UCF's quarterback last week, that they seem to be able to force Fancher to throw it, and he just couldn't do that. So I wonder, like, what is the appetite for Oklahoma State here? If there seems to be that sort of a game plan on UC side of the defense, do they go to Noah Walters a little bit earlier than they think?
I think that's a remarkable question. I think the answer should be yes, right? And I wholeheartedly do believe, and I covered this in my last episode, is the scripting in the first quarter for Sam Jackson looked amazing versus Baylor. It looked amazing versus Houston. But when the defense made adjustments and you had to go to running your traditional offense, that's where Sam Jackson struggled. And Houston definitely provided some instances where Cincinnati can, put him in those kind of precarious situations. And if that happens again, I think you do have to go to Noah Walters because he hasn't gotten opportunities. But what we're hearing out of practice is he's pretty good about leading wide receivers, which is something that Zane Flores was not incapable of doing, but he was struggling. Zane Flores was struggling to find the window and then lead the receiver to that window. Noah Walters, maybe he's shorter, maybe he's less athletic, maybe he'll throw more interceptions, but those windows seem to be a little bit more on time. And if we're looking to have any production offensively through the air, Sam Jackson can throw, will throw, has thrown for a couple touchdowns, not only Oklahoma State, but Cal and TCU as well. So it's in his bag. But Houston showed that when you make the adjustments and you force Oklahoma State to play more straight up with less of the quirky, cutesy-tootsy kind of plays, that it made him kind of limited. So no doubt Cincinnati's going to come into the ball game knowing, okay, the Cowboys are going to get cute at first. We just have to make the adjustments and settle in, and we're going to be fine. When that happens, or if that happens, then I think we make the adjustment to Noah Walters, because then you're left scrambling once again.
It's intriguing to me because I know that it doesn't feel like the defensive line had a good handle on actually trying to contain a scrambling quarterback last week, and so they had to use someone else in that sort of a strategy. I wonder if they try that again. This defense has been so conservative this year, though, Cody. Like I kind of felt like there'd be more blitzing against Cam Fancher last week in UCF being a third string quarterback, and there wasn't. There was like maybe 2, and I think on both times they got a sack, and then they just went right back to the soft zone. So it's going to be intriguing. I think that's going to be the opportunity, is how does Oklahoma State kind of strategize, and how do they use the pinch hitter when it comes to Noah Walters as opposed to Sam Jackson in these cases, because they might be able to catch the Bearcats on their heels a bit on defense.
Yeah, it definitely seems that you guys are adopting the 3-3-5 kind of ACOC model, where you play more coverage and you let the underneath stuff go, and you're excellent at tackling. Right? That would be a difficulty for Oklahoma State right now, is the tackling department. So clearly your defensive coordinator has a lot of faith in your tackling ability to run that style of defense. Speaking of tackling stuff, Jeff, I don't know about you, but I've got a couple of home projects in the backyard that my old lady would love for me to tackle. Thankfully, Wayfair is going to be able to help me tackle some things.
Yeah, Cody, you're right. And even too, you're thinking about the holidays are coming up as well, and you got people coming over, you got parties to celebrate, you've got a whole bunch of different things to set up. I mean, maybe your serveware needs a little bit of updating, and I don't know, maybe you need some bedding for all those guests in the guest room. Wayfair's got everything that you need to keep your home holiday ready, from Christmas trees and wreaths to bedding, cookware, and outdoor inflatables. It's your one-stop shop for every room in your house. Wayfair makes it easy to personalize your home for the holidays with a huge selection for every style and budget. And I know when it comes to style and budget, because everything in this office, like this, shelf back here, that's from Wayfair. This cube back here, that's Wayfair too. This desk that everything is sitting on, it's all from Wayfair. I can vouch for Wayfair. I tell you, they get everything to you fast, and they fit your budget when you need it. Trust me, if you want to go up a little bit higher too, they get that as well. So check out wayfair.com today. Get organized, refreshed, and ready for the holidays for way less at Wayfair. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. And when it comes to the opening whistle, blowing on a repair job that you need to do, and get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see the parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 28,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. If you need parts fast for a project, Supply House has next day delivery. Talk about a game changer. Plus, their Trademaster perks like priority shipping and dedicated support lines make the whole process smoother. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and dedicated support lines just for you. Visit supplyhouse.com and sign up for free. And use the promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service.
Do it. All right, buddy. We're cruising right along here. Okay, so the Big 12 rankings, we're going to kind of divulge some of our opinions. Whenever you go through the rankings, is there anybody on this list that you think is maybe too high, too low, so on and so forth? So naturally, BYU, Texas Tech, and the Cincinnati Bearcats leading the way, undefeated in the league, 3-0, followed by Utah, Arizona State, Houston, Baylor, all collectively at that 2-1 mark, right? So kind of in the middle. And then towards the bottom end is Iowa State, KU, K-State, Arizona, TCU, Colorado, UCF, West Virginia, and the mighty Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy, less Cowboys. Whenever you look at that list, is there anything that pops off to you as, okay, they're pretenders, they shouldn't be there, or they are way too low and they're going to be contenders by the end of this thing? Whenever you look at that list, give me one of each. Or actually, you know what? I'll do this. When you look at the upper half, I think Baylor is a pretender. And let me tell you why, Jeff. because my football team at Oklahoma State that I love oh so dearly, we don't have much of an offense, right? We get creative, we do some cutesy tootsy stuff that score some points, but hat on a hat, 11 on 11, just running schematics, we're not all that great. And we put up almost 30 on the Baylor Bears. So that defense is very suspect to me. Yes, Oral Robertson's good. Yes, they have some targets that they could take advantage of, but I think that they're very susceptible, and you guys play them next. I tell you this, no matter what happens, if Oklahoma State pulls off the upset that we need or not, I do think that you guys hammer Baylor somewhat easily. Do you agree with that synopsis? Yes or no, sir?
I like that. That's going to be homecoming for Cincinnati, so that's
Okay.
going to be a big day for the Bearcats. It's definitely looking like it's going to be a tough matchup, but we've learned over the last couple of years as Bearcats fans not to take any matchup for granted, especially because we've struggled to this point. So it's been a rough go of it. So we're not like going into any week and saying, yeah, we got this for sure. Like even looking at the line on FanDuel for our matchup of the Bearcats laying 22.5, that makes me a bit nervous because I'm like, that's like a lot of points to be going into somebody's house and saying you're favored by that much. So not necessarily sure, but I will say this. I don't know that I buy Houston. And
Okay.
I don't know that it's a defensive standpoint. I think it's the offense. When it comes down to it, if they face a team that is able to at least score enough, are they going to be able to score enough? And don't know that the answer is yes on that one. I think they're a little bit out over their skis here. I think that they're going to come down to earth next couple of days, of course, or next couple of weeks. And of course, it's easy for me to say because UC doesn't play Houston this year in football, but I've watched them and I'm not so sure that I buy it just yet, Cody.
Well, on the flip side of that, well, and as it pertains to Houston, I think you're right, man. There's Houston. That defense, I think, is as advertised. The offense has plenty of weapons, but they've been depleted at times on the offensive line, and they've had some inconsistencies with 3 and outs, especially like against Oklahoma State. So, yeah, I think that's viable. Buddy, when I look at the bottom of this, probably the most surprising to be at the bottom of the Big 12 is TCU, but I'm going to skip that because I think that Arizona is the most dangerous team at the bottom of this conference. Their defense is, I think, Houston, Cincinnati-esque, right? And offensively, Noah Fafita is playing really solid ball. They've got that new receiver, Juju Watley. He's not exactly Tedero McMillan, but he's a very serviceable individual. And I think Brett Brennan's got them playing at a little bit more of an inspired brand of football at the moment. So when I look at the bottom half of the Big 12, just like I think Baylor's a little bit of a pretender, there could be an argument definitely for Houston in that category as well. If I'm anybody that plays Arizona, I don't want that. I do not want that on my schedule whatsoever because they have enough weapons to make it interesting, and they have a defense that's good enough to make a game problematic. Do you guys play them this season?
We got them in 2 weeks.
Okay. All right.
Out in Arizona. So that'll be an interesting one. That's going to be a late night game that, Bearcats are not used to, I'm sure. I'm sure it's probably, what do you think, like a 10 p.m. Eastern kickoff there? So that could be interesting.
Yep.
Arizona's definitely interesting. I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit, though. Like, I don't understand why TCU is this low. I think that there's going to be a little bit of a course correction here for them in the last little bit. Now, it's going to be interesting because if this continues, Bearcats play them in Arlington to finish out the season. And by that point, they're going to know exactly what they're playing for. So how does that game get set up by the next couple of weeks is going to be huge. But I don't buy that TCU is in this position. I think they're going to jump up a lot more here. We're going to see them in the top half, if not the top third of the conference. I think here pretty soon.
I agree with that. All right, man. Before we skedaddle on off of here, I'll just keep it brief. I don't think Oklahoma State gets a dub against Cincy. I do think that we have some creative ways to at least make it somewhat interesting. Have you seen the spread for this? I have not.
Last I saw it was 22.5.
Well,
I feel like Oklahoma State covers that. I just do. There's something about the way that the Bearcats play in the second half. I feel like they're going to, if anything, they're going to allow for one of those like sneaky fourth quarter covers or something like that.
You definitely stole my thunder. I was gonna say that I don't think we get the dub. Oh crap! But I do think that
You
we
just kicked me
cover.
out there.
I do think that we cover this one, right? And we haven't been able to say that for much of the season. So if/when Oklahoma State meets the cover and Cincinnati does not win by 21 plus, I'm going to consider that a win, buddy. All right. I'm just going to call it a spade and consider it a win. But anywho, thank you so much, man. The millisecond that we got you on board and hired and watching some of the stuff that you've done previously with the Reds and your shorts, you're absolutely killing it, man. Remarkable hire. So I'm glad that you're on board. Having you on the squad shows is fun. Basketball season's coming, and I think we're going to have a heartbeat, right? And Cincinnati's typically a basketball school, so that should be fun and exciting. There's a lot of stuff going on, buddy. Thank you very, very much. The fine folks can go track you down at JEFFFCARR, correct? On X.
Yep.
All right.
Jeff Carr.
And give my Oklahoma State country a parting shot, and then we'll let you skedaddle on off of here, my guy.
We got to get some revenge for a couple of years ago when Oklahoma State won by was it 85? No, it was like 35, but it felt like 85. So we'll see if the Bearcats can get some revenge this Saturday at homecoming.
Well, unfortunately for us, thankfully for you, Ollie Gordon is no longer toting the rock on the sidelines in Stillwater, America. So I don't think you're in jeopardy of somebody putting up 246 rushing yards or whatever that was a couple of years ago.
That was rough.
That was the good times for Cowboy country. So thank you for that parting shot. So we're gonna look at some Ollie Gordon versus Cincinnati highlights for the rest of the week to get us fired up. All right, buddy. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. Everybody, hit the like button if you liked it. Dislike if you didn't. That's okay too. More importantly, share, comment, and subscribe. All of the podcasts and people out there, you are everything that makes this work. Without you, this would be kind of a fruitless effort. So we appreciate what you do. Go do what you do. Hit the stars. Leave some reviews. All right, y'all. I'm out of here.